Our shepherd's pie is going to have a nice creamy mashed potato topping, and in order to get that going, we have to peel a bunch of potatoes. It's about 2 pounds of potatoes for 4 servings. And because we have such a large group with us today, we're going to peel about 6 pounds. So what we're going to do here is I'm going to have Mikhail finish peeling these, and as soon as one's done, I'm going to chop it up into cubes and toss it in this water here. By chopping the potatoes down into smaller bites, we can make sure that it boils faster, and it's also easier to test it when it's ready. You stick a fork in one of the cubes and you can tell whether it's soft or not. Alright, once you have a nicely peeled potato, what you can do is go ahead and half it this way. You want to put it on its flat side. You want to half it again. Again, on the longer flat side here. Half it one last time, and then cut little cubes of potato here. And be careful, it might stick to your knife because of the starchiness. You want to be careful to handle all these different ingredients nice and gentle because you don't want to cut yourself. So once you have these nice long slabs here, you're going to go ahead and cut little cubes. They don't have to be, completely the same, but you want to get them to the, to a similar size so that when they boil up, they're going to cook at the same time. Otherwise, you're going to have some that are really mushy and some that are really firm. Your goal is to get it as uniform as possible, really similar. And once you do that with all your potatoes, you're going to be ready to boil. Just add some salts to the pot before you do so, and the potatoes are going to go ahead and absorb that flavor. It's going to help make your mashed potato topping a lot tastier. After your potatoes are done, the next step is to get all the vegetables prepared for your skillet. And that's going to include your onion over here, your carrot, your parsley, and a bunch of other stuff to go along with your meat. So as you're peeling your carrot, you want to make sure that you're peeling away from your body. And if you have a trash can or if you have a sink at home with the garbage disposal, you can go ahead and peel into that. You want to go ahead and peel until the first layer is all gone, like so. Looks good to me. And then you're just going to chop the carrot in little rounds. Like when you chop up some banana to put into your cereal, kind of like that, little pieces like that. And if you don't like big chunks of carrot, you can chop those up in half as well. So these are eventually going to go into the skillet with your meat, your onions, and your gravy that we're going to show you how to make in just a minute. Thanks.
So we have here the potatoes. We're waiting for them to boil. So what you want to do, you want to make sure you keep an eye on them because you don't want it to boil over because that's never fun. So yeah, we've got some water in here. Got the potatoes already in it, and we've got it on high, and we're just playing the waiting game now. So next we're going to cut an onion. It's really easy to do. Let me show you how you do it. So first you're going to cut off, you have the roots, and you have the other top part. So we're going to cut that part off first. You can see we got all the layers. Next, cut it in half one more time. Save that part. Now we can peel off the brown part, which you don't want. So it's really easy to do. And if you're really sensitive to onions, you might want to get a fan or soak them in water first. So now we're going to dice this, and I'm going to show you a real easy way how to do that. So you just take it like this, and you can do it as thin or thick as you want. And so it's going to be in a casserole, so I'm not going to do it too thin. But just cut it like this. Make sure you keep the shape. Get all the way until the end like that. Now we take it, go at a diagonal angle like this, watch your fingers, and you get nice little uniform squares like that. It's very easy to do. There you go. So here we go with the other half here. I'm going to peel it again, and so a lot of time onions, they make you cry when you peel them. So a good way to make sure that doesn't happen, if you get a nice breeze coming in, keeping it away from your eyes. Now it's actually a chemical compound released by the onion which makes you cry, and it's not a lot of fun, especially if you have contacts, I hear, which I don't wear, but you know. So we get it, nice diagonal cut like that. We get nice uniform dicing. is always the tough part, is the last one. But there you go.
Our recipe calls for a cup of chicken broth, but instead of using chicken broth, what I'm going to do is I'm going to make my own broth using a bouillon cube. I'm going to put this cube into a cup, measuring cup. I'm going to add some more water here. I'm going to let this dissolve a bit. And what I do now is we're going to add 1 egg and 2 tablespoons of sour cream to our normal recipe, but because we're making so much, I'm going to go ahead and triple everything. So here I have 3 eggs. I want to check for eggshell, you don't want to upset anybody. I keep my hand over the bowl with my left hand to keep it stable because I don't want to knock the bowl over. So I keep the bowl stable here and I tap lightly, creating a little crack along the edge. I want to use my thumbs to force it a little bit. When I feel a little crack, I just pull away and the egg will fall straight through here. I'm going to rinse my hands real quick. I don't want to get any of that egg yolk on myself. I might get sick. I don't want to contaminate the rest of the meal. Okay? So after I do that, I'm going to go ahead and grab my measuring spoon. Like so. Now, the regular recipe calls for 2 tablespoons. Because we're tripling this, we're going to add 6. We're not going to be too careful. In cooking, you have a little bit of a small chance to play around. Baking is a little different. When we bake, as you'll see in later episodes, we're going to be very specific and stick to the recipe as closely as possible. So that was 3. There's 4. 5. It looks kind of gross now, but once we mix it all in, it's going to be nice and creamy. And there is 6. My bouillon cube isn't quite ready yet. I'm going to let this sit another minute. And I'm going to go ahead and use a fork to mix this up. I want to break up these yolks and distribute the sour cream nice and evenly. Okay. Now at this point, my bouillon cube probably won't dissolve because the water isn't boiling. So I'm going to go ahead and add it in here. And I'll chop it up with my fork, and then once we add it to the heat of the potatoes, it's going to break up nice and evenly. Once again, I know this looks kind of gross, but once you mix it all up, it's going to be creamy and smooth. Alright, this is mixed up pretty well. I'm going to go ahead and add it to my piping hot potatoes. Now, when I was growing up, my family didn't have very many tools, cooking utensils, and so what we had to do was improvise or, kind of think fast on our feet. And so today when I was preparing for this cooking show, I thought, well, I don't have a potato masher. What I did was I just washed an old glass bottle like this. I'm going to go ahead and hold on to the top, and we're going to just mash, as you can see here. It might take a little longer, but it's a lot of fun. Now these are only half of the potatoes that we're going to use. After I mix in these liquids, we're going to go ahead and add the second half of the potatoes to the top, and then we'll see how creamy or dry it is, and we'll add ingredients to taste. All right. Whoa.
So we got here our skillet getting nice and hot. We're going to cook the meat with some vegetables in it. So I had it heated up already. I'm going to put in just a little bit of olive oil. A little bit more, there we go. Now we're going to do that to keep it from sticking. Even though it is a non-stick pan, it always sticks anyway. So here we got our ground turkey. Let's put that